This conference will now be recorded.
Is it appropriate just to say like a moment of silence for all the victims? I mean, you got Australia, you have Brown University, you have the Rob Reiner's family.
Yeah.
Sure. So let's take a moment of silence.
Thank you.
All right, let's call the meeting to order. I do want to apologize. I have to leave a little bit before 8 o'clock today, so the meeting's not over. I will have to excuse myself. So Sarah, you can, as the vice chair, you can adjourn the meeting.
I will. I'll try my best.
All right, first item of business is the acceptance of the November meeting minutes. I make a motion to accept the minutes. Second. Great. All right. Did you read them, Mark?
They were in the attachment.
I apologize, they were not. They're just here now. I'm sorry. I think he's trying to use my mistake to catch you.
You looked at me for the second. You sent me here, you dirty dog.
Now I know I can hide something in there about Mark and he'll never look at him.
I had a question on subject too. Go ahead, I'll accept them.
You're the minutes. You're the minutes. Which sent out Friday, right?
They weren't in Fridays.
Something happened to them.
Yeah, they, I thought I had them ready for Friday and then I tried to send them out that night and then they didn't upload. So I have them there as a separate document. You guys want to wait to
How
table
come
them?
it came to me? You must have
I
said it
like
separate.
that.
You must
Yeah,
have said it
you gave
separate.
the blowback.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
it's
said
on
it to me. And then after that, it's trash.
So do we have to approve or have we already approved?
Up to you, if you want to take a few minutes to read them.
Yeah, makes all makes sense.
There wasn't much on the last week.
I'm fine with approving them if everyone else is.
I just read the third. Okay.
Yes.
Right, great.
Yes.
All right,
Thank you, Ted.
there is no agenda item 3, which I saw.
Sorry about that.
What's this? Oh, there's no three.
There's no 13 floors. Threes are bad luck.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
So I just thought we,
the agenda item 3 is the reading of the minutes from Mark.
just thought we'd spend a few minutes talking about the tree lighting ceremony and if anybody had any comments. I do want to say I appreciate everyone coming out in cold weather and representing us. I think we were the only volunteer board present, right?
What about Parks and Rec? You know what, they might have been around. Parks and Rec might have, I think they usually have to like work some of the stuff for that, but, so they didn't have tip, that's great. Yeah, I don't know of any others that were there.
Yeah, and Herb came over, spent a lot of time, and he was very complimentary of you and the community.
Herb was complimentary of me.
Yes, yeah.
Am I recorded?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he was.
There.
Yeah.
Maybe you weren't there.
So I hope you're able to salvage your clothes.
I wasn't.
I was afraid of that. So,
It was like, more than it was the hot glue. I wasn't thinking. And it was extra cold that night, so I had to leave.
You had to
alone.
leave mom.
Yeah.
I put
Was that from the
three
craft?
cotton balls together to make a snowman, and so there
It
were
was
2
well-
hot.
You guys were in charge of doing that for the kids, or you did it for yourself?
No.
You did it for your kids?
The kids were doing it at the table, so
Oh.
Sarah was helping them and
Oh.
ended up with, I think, about 2 or 3 glue sticks with the glue on the gloves.
It was well worth the sacrifice.
Wait, and how come Derek, you didn't get glue on yours?
He was the master at
No, because I took my gloves off when I did it.
it.
Yeah, those two were doing it busy. We were manning the other booth.
Yeah, they gave us the fun.
Yeah.
How did the stormwater end of it go?
Well, you two were.
Well, that was the gluing of the snowman.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
yes.
There was some minor discussions.
Okay.
But
You had one good one.
Yeah.
he doesn't even live in South Whitehall, though.
Boy, that was a long time.
I'd say I probably gave out about 30 of the holiday recycling
Oh, wow.
flyers. And one thing I noticed that the booths were pretty far off the path.
Oh.
As people were walking by, a lot of them didn't wander toward the booth. You know, they were a good 15, 20 feet away. So it was, you know, a little harder to engage folks. They had to basically come off the path to come see us. So that might be something to think about for
Absolutely.
next time.
Yeah, I was under the assumption you guys would be like smack dab right in the front as soon as they get there. But I have never actually been
We
to
were
that event, so I don't really know the setup.
I think we were, no, I think we were on the backside.
Right, but we weren't too far up that roadway,
Okay.
because I stopped during the day. I looked a lot different at night, I have to tell
Well,
you.
they should
But
be.
when I stopped during the day, I'm thinking, I'll walk up here, I'll go right there on the right-hand side.
But it's not like it was right, like as people are going
Not
to say,
on the path.
Okay.
They were right
The
at
trouble
end.
was they used different parking lots too.
okay.
So I came from another parking lot.
Oh,
So I had to
okay.
walk all the way around.
Okay, gotcha.
That was the three things I heard from like, just people attending it, if we're being critical. It was the parking situation. They wanted more engagement from Santa
Yes.
and more than one food truck.
More engagement from
He
Santa.
didn't come down the path.
Oh.
For whatever
So,
reason.
they made a
Well-
big deal of him coming, which was
Yeah.
like, and then he came and he's like, where did he go?
We can talk to Mr. Claus about that.
Yes.
You know.
Absolutely.
Do a little walkabout, maybe do a snowball fight with the kids.
Get Santa in the snowball
In the
fight.
middle.
Oh, that sounds like something.
You can
definitely
tell him I
we
said
I'm
it.
sure Mike would definitely.
Right.
What's that, Ally?
I'm sure Mike would definitely want to do that.
Yeah,
I feel like throwing a snowball at Santa would get them money.
Yeah, we talked about that story.
I think
He said there was
Santa's
a
throwing
line, and then the line
kids
like.
out
was
with
bigger
the
than-
more problem.
Yeah, a lawsuit waiting to happen.
I don't know why they won't.
Not that it's too.
So I'm sorry, you said the parking there, like the lots are too dispersed?
Well, they
Yeah,
pretty much
it's
do
what,
the best they can.
yeah,
with the
yeah.
certainly.
Because there's a big lot, they filter them in from the top, go all the way through the park, and then they're right there, basically, they just have to come through the path, and then the other one is across the street.
Right.
But they have the fire police,
that's where
Letting
the
them cross the
police were,
street.
the fire.
so they have people like watching the people crossing the street. There's two big
That
lots
one
on either
makes sense
side.
to me, but there was one that my husband and kids had to park at where it was like they drove down the path that's in the park.
Yeah.
Which
come
is,
in the top of the park,
fine once
right
you're
through.
there, but I think people didn't know that it was there.
It's confusing and it's dark.
And
Yes,
right,
right.
and that's all I mean. They did the best they could. Please don't think I'm being,
No, well,
Me.
there's not that many other places to park besides the park.
Yeah.
Which is where we have all the stuff at. I think we probably could suggest to her having more light towers. You know, we
Yes.
see they're not having enough
that,
light.
definitely.
Yeah.
Do we have
Talked about that.
Then I feel like
Yeah.
that takes away.
Like,
the
around.
like,
Yeah, I know
Oh,
they're
like
expensive,
floodlights.
and I know that we
You should
bought.
have the light tower, but then it's like.
Well,
they
yeah,
lose
one or two.
The effect of the lights going.
That's
true.
true. Rent.
They did
Rent
it.
a couple once a year.
They did a really
they had
nice
little
job with
fiber
the
optic
fire.
cables.
I love the fire.
Yeah, they
Oh,
did a
yeah.
really nice job.
The fires were.
Yeah, and they kept adding wood and going around and bringing wood. That was
Oh,
hot.
yeah,
I
that was
think it's really nice
amazing.
touch. I like.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I would say we felt the same way that you did, Sarah, that it was such hype for Santa. Oh, here he comes, and we saw these fire trucks, and they're going across, they come to the bridge, and we're like, and we're down at our end waiting,
We can't.
like,
Yeah.
where is he? You know, we're like,
Well,
this
he
is.
comes
I
across the
never- I
bridge.
never saw
all
it.
side by
saw
side.
it.
never
We
saw
never
it.
saw it.
And so we're thinking, kids, see, we had family, I don't know how many families actually walked up there, but
Uh,
have Santa come down the path, then you guys have to wander.
What
around.
I'm hearing is you guys just want more Santa
More
to
Santa.
come
What?
hang out with you all.
No, they can,
Talk about recycling.
Yeah. In defense of Lynn Matula, there probably were more food trucks scheduled. I know that they often fail.
Last year, there were more.
Yeah, it's hard, especially it was cold, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure some were probably just like, it's just not worth it.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
Their name should be blasted.
Usually there's like 2 or 3 in.
I mean, I don't know for sure, but I doubt for an event that big, the
They would've-
intent was only to book one. Yeah,
Last year I think
Yeah.
you had 3,
yeah,
and then like a dessert. There were, I think, 3 food options.
yeah. I'm trying to think because I remember kind of talking to her about it because we even had for the sunset to summer a couple of them bail.
Yeah.
And
It does usually look like
The food itself was delicious though.
who was
It
it?
really was.
Was that an African? like-
Oh, yeah. We've talked about them a lot at Park and Rec Board.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. They live in the township, I think.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I did have one good conversation with David Heim, who's one of the, he's on the school board.
Wow.
Parkland High School. He asked about our EAC and asked if we had any involvement with the high school. I said, we've tried in the past, but haven't really connected with the right person. So he took one of our flyers about the EAC and said he'd try to contact somebody at the high school to see if there's an interest. So we'll see if anything happens from that.
Wonderful. I think, we have that. I believe that's listed in our bylaws of like encouraging a student member.
Yeah, that was part of the Green Advisory Council too, but we never
Yeah.
really got to the right people at the high school. I mean, they have an environmental club there, but we tried to contact the sponsors,
Mhm.
the teacher who's responsible for that club, and we never really got any feedback, so.
Is that something you'll follow up with, or do you want me to try to follow up with the school?
No, let's just see if David comes back with anything.
Okay.
or The school contacts us, so.
Yeah.
I am more than happy to be a point person to harass. I'm not, they don't know me. And I'm not even on the board yet, but I am keen, I'm happy to call people and talk with them, not harass.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm sure there's a student.
That's what we had no association with.
No. But I mean, I also from like, because I've got kids at the elementary school level, but like they clearly emphasize, they reward students doing things in the community. So I would suspect some kids
Oh,
that
requirements
some
at high school
stuff,
level,
right,
yeah.
would find meaning in doing it
I
here.
mean,
So
I agree,
like, we
so.
just are not getting to the right person, but I'm happy.
You have to do so many hours of community service to
Yeah.
graduate, so,
Yeah.
There's definitely a student I would want to do. You just
Yeah.
don't
Yeah.
know about it yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
had a student come to one meeting, but then we didn't really have anything for them to do specifically, so.
We can find some things.
Died out, so.
Was this Dave Hine, the engineer, or different Dave Hine? I don't know.
No, he's got a financial background.
Okay, no problem. Okay, because a friend of mine's in that name too, but.
Would there be any value in coordinating with the Parkland, or have we already, with the Parkland School Board, like, more broadly speaking, not just the high school?
And that was kind of
He
my,
is on the school board.
Right, but like aligning on open spaces and that could align, I don't
like
even
just
know.
some sort of, so I'll say like with the Park and Rec Board, what they've done, now it's different because we use so many like school facilities. And there's a
Sure.
lot more like direct interaction there is they actually have, they're not school board members, but they are school board appointed members that are
Sure.
on the Park and Rec Board. And there's some,
Sure.
a little bit more dialogue there. But as far as like open space and land development, we typically from community development meet with the school staff every year and kind of go through like projections and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
We can tie in like open spaces because it's more what they're
I mean, I
interested
feel
in.
like we're still at the nascent stage of figuring out what that's gonna look like, but it would
Mm-hmm.
be interesting if there was alignment with this school. I don't know, that would be cool. If it could be meaningful to them in some way and be used immediately, I don't know.
I'd be curious to know like what they're interested in.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Yeah.
We would love it if there was a river area where we could do school projects. I don't even know, maybe there's no interest, but there won't be interest if we aren't talking with them, right?
I'm wondering, are those conversations with the board or is that staff?
Yeah, right,
It's not,
yeah.
I mean, certainly the board will, we can go to the board, then they're gonna put us to the staff.
Yeah.
So save time,
Yeah,
you just gotta get the right staff person.
Yeah, like if there's, I don't know if anyone knows, like, I mean, we've had good conversations at like an administrative level and things like that, but if there's a teacher in the high school, an environmental teacher, or whoever is in charge of the environmental club, like I would love to follow up with that person and talk about, who are your students that would like to participate here? Programs, projects, outreach things, here's
Yeah.
this group is doing.
Now,
Sounds like something that could be added to the work plan.
Yeah, I mean, now if you're talking about like realigning funds that the school district now is getting money for in order to create a space that's like a nature space, that would be the board rather than staff.
But the interest at the board level would probably come from teacher, I mean, like,
Yeah,
it would be
they'd have to
because the
propose
teachers are
something
pushing for
that
it,
the board
yeah.
would have to consider.
Yeah.
So either way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just to piggyback off of this conversation and kind of going back to Mascaro, I think it would be kind of cool to organize field trips with the elementary and middle school students to go see recycling centers. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Well, I think that could be something we could offer is, if they have an environmental club, we could, one of these visits to Total Recycle, we could sponsor for the.
So on the elementary level, they don't, and on the
I'm thinking
middle-
I'm thinking high school.
Yeah, right.
high school, that's a whole animal that I don't know a lot about yet, but in the middle school, I think it's a great age for them to start getting interested in that. And even the elementary school, I mean, when
Oh,
you start them
cool.
young, right?
It's
Yeah.
cool at elementary, because it's a big operation.
It's really neat,
I
yeah.
went in elementary school.
So I just, we certainly don't have to spend time on that, but maybe in the next, maybe put it in the minutes or something for the next time, but I just thought that could be something that I could start to help and work on in my little involvement, and I just think it would be super cool for the kids to see that.
Also, you think about how much solid waste the school district generates, right? And
Yeah.
You have a real opportunity to partner with them and do something around recycling or something.
Because there's none now currently,
Really?
really,
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
everything goes in the same bins.
Really?
They're-
Crazy.
They might on the high school level, I don't know, I don't know about that yet, but I can tell you with the middle school and the elementary. It might be just like a Parkland change, across the board. Because why wouldn't they have that across the board, I don't know.
Yeah.
They had it at the high school 10 years ago.
Oh.
They what?
They had it at the
Recycling
high school
program.
10 years ago, when I went, but I don't know if they still.
Yeah, and I don't know who does that. I mean, I assume it's a
I think
private.
they probably just
contract.
combine them all at the end of the day. To be honest.
And so I think that's why they just have decided, let's just not even fake the funk.
The Stonehouse group in Bethlehem, their people are members with Green Building United, and they have now there who go to the elementary schools. And it was great. She even brought little hazmat suits for them.
Oh my
And
gosh.
she had them take trash cans and dump them, trash cans from the classrooms, dump them and look at them and say, okay, what do you think is trash? What can be recycled?
Mhm.
Is that, should this one, what is this, blah, blah, blah. And these kids had their little hazmat suits on and they had to go through the whole thing and
Oh,
talk
yeah.
about it. And, and they do a great job over there at Stonehouse too. So, just a
Wow.
thought on that one, that it has been done in the
Yeah.
elementary schools. It was pretty successful.
This piggybacks up another idea.
Oh, look
For
at
2026, and it could be South Whitehall Superstars. And I thought we could like sponsor some kids, get a small group. I don't know how we would pick them. We'd have to figure that out. Then they would come here and we would have a little plot where they would do a time capsule. And then we would pick different pieces of how you think they would break down over time. And then we would set a limit on the time capsule and we would invite those same kids back in 5 years or 4 years or something. And we would make it a big event and we would dig it up and we'd make like a little event, we'd make a thing out of it. I just thought that would be really cool to show like a diaper's going nowhere. Styrofoam is going nowhere, but look, the apple is gone, or I don't know.
So why
Sure,
don't
we
we,
need some
why don't
work,
we, volunteer to reach out, I'd say start with Mark Madsen, superintendent of the school district. Explain that we're the Green Advisory Council for South Whitehall Township. We're looking to do some things in collaboration with Parkland students. We'd like the names of some educators that we could reach out to start a conversation about that.
And
Are
I
you willing
believe,
to do that, Emily? Just tell them on every level, like, elementary, middle, and high school.
Yeah,
and I believe the students that came out to help us with the Mechanicsville Road cleanup, that was a high school environmental group.
Yeah.
Somebody contacted them. I don't remember how that happened, but they were contacted and they sent they send students out to help with that cleanup.
But I think the best way to start would be to get with some educators, pick their brains about what they would like to see to engage their students, and, let's not try to, let's not try to solve, come up with a curriculum before we have a
Right,
conversation.
exactly.
But there's lots of good ideas.
So Emily, you're gonna take the lead on that?
I'm happy to reach out. Can I reach out now, even though I'm officially a member in January? Like, do we need to, or like, does this matter?
No, I don't think it matters. I don't know if anyone's gonna respond between now.
Is it better to
and
wait until
then.
January?
I would probably think, well,
I don't know.
I honestly don't think it.
Yeah, I don't think.
I don't know, because their inboxes are gonna be stormed out.
Yeah.
And then is the policy to CC anyone, or do I just
I
write my
prefer if you
personal,
CC
like,
me.
what do I do?
and I'm happy to reach out to Mark too. I mean, I
That's fine.
talked to him through the chamber and through things here, but I think it's nice to introduce the EAC.
Sure. So I can write on my personal email and then just CC you.
That'd be great. Thank you.
And then you can jump in
Right,
on the conversation.
That way, yeah,
Yeah.
if there's any follow-up.
And Emily, I like that you're doing it, you're representing your, as a board, is much better than the township
That's where I just
person.
wanted. to
Yes.
be
It makes it
CC.
sound like we actually,
We're
yeah,
doing
yeah,
this.
yeah, it's,
Sure.
it's not like we're.
I know.
Okay, I'm trying to be nice.
All right, so I think we have,
We don't carry that much clout, apparently.
No, exactly.
In our eyes.
I think we have the first,
Got called to order.
Sounds like a work plan.
we have the first goal for our 2026 work plan.
So, yeah, I mean, that's a good transition. I personally would like to try to formulate some of the ideas. My goal for the work plan is I put the old one in your packet. I would like to try to get something into a format similar to this so that come like February, March, I can present this to the Board of Commissioners. Usually March is the time that we share all of the annual reports for what has been done. I think especially with this group, like having the detailed work plan is really helpful for them, especially the two new commissioners, to say like, here's this group, here's what we've done this year, and I think you guys have a pretty good, we'll work on the annual report in January, but I think there's a lot of accomplishments just within this 1 year, and to lay out a detailed work plan of what's to come, I think is gonna be exciting for them. So what I will do is, as you guys are kind of talking about ideas, I'll kind of take some notes here and through the meeting minutes as well. Try to formulate this into maybe like a draft to look at in January. That's kind of similar to this. So I just mentioned that to keep it in context of like, as we're all over the place thinking of things, if we can try to get it down to, for example, I would think a good like goal would be coordination with Parkland School District. I'm seeing two actions under that of like following up, Emily reaching out to Mark Madsen, and starting to think about the like recycling program or the recycling tour that we could maybe talk to Total Recycle.
So I think that's a second goal, is to really, to familiarize ourselves with the solid waste management plan for South Whitehall Township, and to develop some ideas about ways we can improve that, including further education for residents.
When you say,
Maybe businesses too.
Not my business stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
While we're at it,
Everybody in the township.
Yeah,
right? I mean,
yeah.
it's
you said total,
Total Recycle. They're the recycling firm in Mascari uses.
Okay, I didn't know the name. Okay, thank you. Trying to figure out.
So that's where we're gonna go tour.
Okay, cool.
And the second goal, what's our second goal? We just talked about,
Familiarize ourselves with the.
we have the Parkland School District.
other
recycling.
recycling.
Well, not, I'd say all solid waste management.
Okay.
Solid recycling, that was a big part of that.
And maybe that means when we talk to Parkland, find out if they in fact do recycle in high school level or not, and maybe we can help develop some kind of.
I feel like that would be a separate email, or at least a very separate question, because if we're asking about like waste management, that's a different group of people than probably.
Well, again, Emily, I don't think we should be suggesting ideas. I think the first thing we need to do is just find some people we can talk to, right?
Sure.
I don't think we want to try to narrow it down to anything specific just yet.
Okay.
So some of them might, road cleanups might be something that they're interested in. Recycling might be something there, but, I don't think we have to
Yeah.
channel them in any specific direction just yet.
What
I mean, obviously, if they, they want ideas, you've got ideas, you can get them, but
What page are you on, Chris, when you're looking at this? Is this 4? And we're looking at the past ones, priority and goal act.
I'm not really looking at anything, I'm just kind of taking notes.
Okay.
I just threw that in
You
there.
just threw it in? Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't know. Okay,
Yeah.
Fine.
Chris, do you think we've completed any of the goals from last year?
No.
Today?
And I wanted to bring that up, because, some of them are still very high priority. I think, some of this has kind of been consolidated. I think the problem was how we were. A lot of this was, I think it made sense for us as an EAC, but where it fit in with like what staff is working on and how we were working on different tasks. Some of these are kind of more consolidated now. So I'd say the official map update is still very, very high priority. So I'd like to have a goal related to the official map. And that will be again, similar to the exercise we've done, like I'll bring something together and we'll talk about what's on that. And I think we have a little bit more unlocked there. From the transportation plan that we just have the final draft of our second phase of the transportation plan that I just got last week. So
Chris,
that's a big piece.
how much of this open space map is on your plate?
A lot of it.
I mean, that seems like that's gonna be hard for us to move it forward if it's just.
I
you
think
know what I mean?
just
Like, what
having
can
it
we
in
do?
there as I'd more so just like to show it as like an accomplishment of the EAC, because ideally, it's a lot of just staff work and then bringing something to you guys to get that
Yeah,
litmus test. Sort of.
sure.
Yeah, a lot of these goals, Chris, I think we need to move from develop something to implement something, right?
Okay.
So I think there's things we've done in a lot of these goals that, was really around developing a process or developing a product. And I think that, for most of these, we've got an ongoing responsibility to go implement whatever we've developed, right?
Okay.
So I think that would be, in my mind, that would be, I'd see these goals shifting into more of a, an implementation kind of phase. Like, hopefully we'll have some land development opportunities to look at next year, and then we would implement the open space criteria that we've developed and implement the process of reviewing these
Okay.
from an EAC standpoint, right? So, but I think.
So maybe
there's
it's
still
not something that's listed as like a specific goal for you guys to focus attention on now because you'll be.
No. I think it should still be a goal, but I'm just saying, I think that the tenor, the tone of the goal should shift to being more of, we put some processes in place, now we've got to go use them, right?
I mean, does that mean that we get even more granular with our meetings? So like maybe come January, say, okay, this much of the meeting's gonna be dedicated to looking at the maps and then trying to figure out that, and then we can spend this much of the meeting, not just on the agenda, but saying, we gotta spend a good solid chunk of time in the beginning, maybe at first, to just, talking about the maps and the open spaces on them.
Do you need, I don't know if this is how you guys do it, but do you need time between meetings to talk with someone? Like, if
No,
that's happened with some other
I
boards,
need
don't know
to
if that
bring
happens
things to this group in a draft format
here. Okay,
and say, what do you think? And then we can kind of work from
Okay.
there. And so that is where, yes, there's a lot on staff
yeah,
for a lot of the existing goals in here. And I think I think you bring up a good point of, yeah, it's not developing it. It's, okay, we've talked about it. I have my direction. It's just a matter of getting it to this board and saying, okay, here's what it is. Do you like it? Do you not like it? What's the recommendation for this moving forward to the
Yeah.
board of commissioners?
Well, I mean, take something like the open space map, right? I mean, we still have to finalize that, but once you have to finalize, how do we use it, right? I mean, that's.
Yeah.
Right, I mean, or we should have a goal on how we're gonna use it as an EAC, right? And, that's gonna be opportunity driven. Not necessarily something we're doing proactively, but it should still be a goal to review, all the opportunities where, from an open space standpoint, right?
Yeah, I think we kind of talked about it last meeting that I'm working now with our team on the standard operating procedure for like how we're gonna go about doing it. Because I don't, like you're saying, we don't see this board receiving applications for open space funding. It's gonna be more the township approaching landowners directly.
That's exciting.
Just to clarify, if you don't mind, so at some point, we almost need to have like a priority, like this is number one target parcel, so that we're not scattered all over the place and reacting, but we know exactly where our biggest.
My goal would be, and that's up to you guys if you want to do that. I don't love that because I like flexibility and opportunity.
Okay.
Instead of, all of our eggs in one basket on kind of one parcel. I think part
It
of
doesn't have to be all on one.
yeah,
It's just we know where's where is the biggest need with the X amount of money that we're gonna possibly have, or probably we will have, but where do we want to?
Or you could shift it to like, where is the biggest priority? What are our goals?
Yeah.
And then when you see things come up, does this align with our goals?
what I envision for the official map is we talked before about having these resource protection areas that we've kind of identified as like having those colored swaths across it. That's kind of your point of like, these are our priority pockets based on the resources that we've discussed. Anything within that is a priority for us to consider protection of a resource that's there in one way or another, whether that's ordinance driven or being proactive in seeing us try to actually protect it. The opportunity to protect it may not be there. So I think in addition to that, also identifying specific parcels that are undeveloped that fall within those areas as sort of what you're saying, our list of projects. Because I'll be honest, there's not a lot. I mean, it's a pretty built out township. I don't think it's an overwhelming amount. So you might have 10 to 15, 20 parcels total that we could identify, plus those resource priority swaths.
Question here. I know we had this conversation way back. Official map and open space map, two different maps?
We initially had them as different maps. The open space map was one that we were talking about existing open space and using that to identify different management strategies. I don't know if that's necessarily still a priority as it was, just given everything else you guys want to do. I would say the official map, huge priority, especially with the open space referendum. The secondary one, I think the benefit is we've talked about like naturalizing some of our parks. We've talked about different management strategies within open spaces. The Kohler Ridge property is a good example of that. So that's what that map would serve for. So
Okay, the official map is the one you're seeing as the priority.
Correct. And if that secondary map, if you all see that as a high priority, we can definitely add that to the list for next year. But I'll be honest, I don't know if that's something. I think you guys are moving in a lot of directions, and I think that's something that's gonna take some time with staff to do.
Why don't we develop the official map, and then we have a goal to look at the official map and decide how we want to use that. Okay, as opposed to saying, before we even seen the official map, we want this other map, or we want, I think let's have a goal to say, we're going to review the official map and determine as an EAC, what are the environmental priorities we want to emphasize based on that official map.
I like that.
That aligns with what.
And maybe that means we develop an open space map, maybe not, right?
Right.
But, let's look at the official map before we decide we need something else. That sound okay, everybody?
Yeah, I think that aligns with kind of what we were talking about when we started to look at the map, right? That's what we really wanted us to do, and I think that's perfect, and I think that's a great plan.
Chris, you mentioned I'm sorry. Chris, you mentioned you were waiting on transportation thing finished to transport. Is there ever, I'm coming in new to this, has there been a discussion about open places and access to them, or increasing access, or aligning with bike lanes or stuff like that? I mention it because when I had to interview, I looked at the Board of Commissioners 5-year plan or 2-year plan or whatever number of year plans. And one of the biggest complaints from the community, because they did the big survey and everything, was access. I didn't say access to environmental things, but obviously we're the environmental board, so that's what we have, ability to affect. And it would be cool if we could increase access to open spaces, so people are not having to drive
Yes.
to them.
Yes, so to answer your question, yes, that will be a component of the official map. So this is the first phase of our transportation plan. This was focused on safety. What are the critical safety roadways for both vehicular users and pedestrians? And then the second component was active transportation, which dealt specifically with that. So there is a preferred.
Is this published on a website somewhere?
This is on the township website.
Okay.
I've been trying to get this into an interactive map. Again, just time. So we have sorry, I'm trying to scroll down to there's the preferred active transportation plan, essentially here. So this is the idea of connecting to open spaces was a huge part of the public engagement on this plan.
Right.
We heard that from everybody.
Yeah.
So that prioritized some of the preferred network connections,
Yeah.
Connecting down to Cover Bridge Park,
Yeah.
connecting different community spaces and things like that, connecting the Greenway.
That's so awesome.
So what you see here is the kind of preferred network. This network will be shown on the transportation page for the official map.
Yeah.
So like right now, our official map is, we have like a transportation component here that shows potential road connections, really from the active transportation piece, all that the existing, now this is a 15-year-old map. All that's talked about in active transportation is this area here is the Jordan Creek Greenway corridor, so it doesn't give much direction other than trying to close the gaps in the Greenway from that trail feasibility study. So we'll have something somewhat similar to this of the active transportation network shown on there. Also the safety corridors, because we have priority safety corridors for us to consider working with PennDOT on. And then where it kind of comes into you guys, well, this one has our historic structures. We'll also have the historic structures and a map that we just wrapped up our historic preservation plan. And then, so right now, this is kind of the natural resource one. So for example, we have like this green area here. These are woodlands. And we'll have something similar to that. But what we've talked about with this group is kind of combining all the resources to have like high priority resource areas.
Does that when you said access, you're talking specifically about pedestrian access or bike access as opposed to automobile access?
I was referring to that, and maybe that's not something that's discussed. Maybe that's not priority, but
No, I think
that would be, I would love to be able to bike to Covered Bridge Playground for my house.
Yeah,
It is not safe on
if
the
we could promote
for my kids,
opportunities,
or 309,
Yeah.
right? Like,
if we could promote
you know.
opportunities to walk or bike, I mean, that's your greenhouse gas emissions.
everybody is
So
great,
I
yeah.
think there's definitely an environmental component to that for
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So there's like two really clear sides of that. Like what I think would be very appropriate for this group is one, that promotion to the public of like looking at opportunities and encouraging people to do that, and to say, here's kind of a plan from the township and what we're hoping to do to encourage or create better infrastructure for that, and to make recommendations to the Board of Commissioners based on our active transportation plan, what projects should be prioritize.
Maybe we need more bike
Or if
lanes,
we're,
right?
or if we're buying spaces, if we buy a narrow sliver that's like, and we're gonna let this be a bike lane plus some beautiful stuff along the sides, and that's gonna, I don't know, it's probably hard. to say.
Access easements, trail easements, all of
Yeah,
that stuff.
stuff
Yeah,
like
that's
that.
all.
Yeah,
That's all under that, the goal of the open space referendum. Like those
Yeah.
are all applicable things to look at.
Well, the other thing is too, Chris, like up our way, where I'm at,
Mhm.
it's on that little corner of the township. What ended up happening there is Peachtree Road ends up being sorry, Frank.
No,
Peachtree,
sorry.
yeah, no.
I'm not rushing
You
you.
gotta go.
I'm not rushing you.
Okay, Peachtree Road ends up being, a real thoroughfare for walkers, bikers. They use that road.
Oh,
And they don't practice there. We've had people that must have been practicing for some kind of a bike race or something.
Oh,
I don't know, but they park by our house and they goes up and down there. So I guess what I'm wondering is where you're at, Blue I'm not real familiar with that area, but is there any kind of a park that you guys would have to travel to get by bike or walk
right.
to get to a park?
Yeah, they don't
Yeah,
have
see,
the
that's-
park
they
yet.
don't-
We basically gotta drive everywhere.
Pardon me?
Yeah.
We basically have to drive everywhere.
Or bike on a road
Yeah, that's what I'm
where,
saying.
which, yeah, I think, from whatever, I think a lot of people in the area love biking. Like, it's big,
Yeah, it is.
I think if we gave them safe lanes that get their kids on, this is a beautiful place to go biking,
Yeah. Even walking, I mean,
Yeah,
all
and
the
walking.
We do is
Oh
on
my
public
gosh.
roads. I mean, there's no,
But if you
have
could
to
walk to the park.
We can walk
I
to
would
the
love to
park,
walk to the
Yeah.
to go
that
on
would
the
be
trail, but,
amazing.
we're walking on public roads to get there, so.
Yeah, I'm very proud of the transportation plan. I mean, we've won an award for it. Just 2 weeks ago, we were nominated for another award from the Lehigh Valley Planning Commission. What I'm very proud of is the connection, because we did it between not just the active transportation and like almost like a bike ped plan of where people want to go and circulation, but we coupled that with the safety analysis, and we dovetailed the two together so that we identified, Hamilton Boulevard is a terrific example of that. Number one safety corridor in the township because of just how dangerous it is there in front of Dorney Park. But it's also a huge focal point for where people would want to have better connections to walk that they can't because of what's there, the regional destinations that are there. And yeah, we're just kind of working through pieces. So like Hamilton Boulevard, for example, we just did a pretty comprehensive road safety audit on that. Yes, so we have that in draft format. So we're kind of working through the priority list. We've established a Vision Zero task force. So when we did this plan, we had a pretty good steering committee of people outside of the township, which was great. We haven't had a steering committee of like organizations outside of the township getting involved. And so the idea is to keep this task force going and helping to prioritize the safety projects and review the safety projects. The active transportation projects aren't really, like, there's not really another committee or a board who's really paying attention to that. So if there's interest from this group to see some of that, I would love to bring more to it. The Park and Rec Board as well is very interested in that. But
So a goal would be to review the transportation plan and to develop some environmentally friendly aspects to it or something like that, or?
I would think
That
about,
would get
yeah,
us a lot of attention from the community if we were like, this is what the EAC.
I would say review the transportation plan and look at the implementation items and start to think about where this board can help promote the goals of the transportation plan to the community and start to think about what kind of projects that are listed. I mean, there's specific projects in here, or it's policy related. So for example, we have so many sidewalk deferrals where land developer comes in and say, I don't want to put sidewalk in. And you say, okay, yeah. Well, for a while we've said, okay, you don't have to do it today, you have to do it eventually. Now those are all just sitting out there. So developers long gone 30 years, 40 years. And we can call in the sidewalk, but now you're asking the resident to do it or the business. So it's really tough to do that. But I think if there's a specific corridor, a specific reason, or if there's more support for like
let's get this connection here. The
Yeah.
township will work on this piece. We'll call in these sections of sidewalk. It's already tied in with, like, there's another development happening here where we're forcing them to do sidewalk. We're not gonna defer it. I think those are all things to help. The more support we can get.
So I think as an EAC, if we're gonna review the transportation plan, it should be with an eye toward improving walkability and bikeability,
Yeah.
right? I mean, that's,
Yeah.
to me, that's the environmental aspect, the sustainable aspect to it.
Fauzi Hamid.
Three goes on.
There's another call?
Okay, so I have coordination with Parkland School District, familiarize membership with the solid waste management plan, and there's a couple things under there, and review the transportation plan.
Perhaps when we're looking at the township map and we are, looking for those areas, we can kind of just keep that in our back pocket of saying, well, maybe this area might make sense to also be sort of like a walkway or a corridor, or just give a recommendation as well as when we're adding those things in. I love that idea. I would love, because I too live on Blue Barn, and we can't let our kids go out on it,
Yeah. The second phase of the transportation plan that we just got is to reclassify roads. So like right now, if you look at it, I don't know if it's showing up here. Yeah, so like these colors on here, blue, yellow, red, those are the roadway classifications. So like blue are your principal arterials, yellow collectors, and so forth. The roads that are identified, that the idea is you're getting your local roads to the collector roads. It collects the cars, and then that puts it to an arterial road, a maiden road, that gets them in and out of the township. It's supposed to operate like a system. Those classifications of roads dictate how roads are developed. So whether township is building a road or a developer is building a road or updating a road, right now they're all the same. So if you're on Blue Barn, it could be very similar to West End Allentown. It could be similar to up in the northern part of the township. So we've gone through kind of a data-driven approach with really identifying where traffic movements are to understand how these roads are currently functioning and whether those functionalities should change, meaning like a road is getting a lot of traffic. It should be getting that traffic because where it is in the system, we need to bump up that functional class. Or it's a really high functional class that it's like you don't need to be having, a speedway down this road. Lower that functional class and consider it, it's really should only be taking so many cars. The other thing we've done is like a context-based character classification. So rural area versus suburban area versus commercial area, and different, using that to guide different requirements. So sidewalk versus maybe like a 5 foot off the road, 10 foot wide shared use path. So a lot of times people say, well, like, oh, I don't want to put sidewalk in. I'm up in the middle of nowhere. There's no sidewalk around here. It's like, yeah, because no one has started sidewalk, and sidewalk may not be appropriate because where you are, but there still should be some consideration for pedestrian connectivity. Same thing with street
But
trees.
even, that could even be done with road markings though, right? I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be a sidewalk.
Yes, and that's the other thing. And that's in the transportation plan too, of like what those road markings like look like. So here's a good example. This is like the bikeway selection guide. So if you're looking at a road volume, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 people, but it's only 15, 20 miles an hour, that could be more like a shared bike lane or what they call bicycle boulevard. That's the Peachtree Road example you're talking about. Like people are just on the road, they're using it, low volume, low speed, more intermingled with traffic. It's safer that way. But when you start to look at like Hamilton Boulevard, for example, then that's where you kind of have this cross-reference to you need to get people off of that roadway, but still have that connection. You can still do things to slow traffic and make traffic safer, but your pedestrians are never going to be in a very safe way there. So all of that, all of the different mechanisms of pedestrian infrastructure that are identified in here, we've now taken that and applied it to specific classifications in township roadways.
That's
So as
awesome.
part of updating the official map, we'll codify that so that's when someone comes in, they'll have to build it that way.
Yeah.
Instead of asking for relief.
A question for you, just kind of, you mentioned about builders not living up to their what they said they would do. A number of these builders now are building phase 2, phase 3 in the township. Can the township now say, before we give you the ability, like Toll Brothers? I live in a Toll Brothers home. They never put sidewalks in, but they built this big one somewhere out here, right around here. To say like, now, before you're allowed to build here, you got to finish what you did not commit to previously. Can they do that?
Short answer is yes, if there's agreements in place, and it's more the older ones in these well-established neighborhoods that those developers are long gone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, what's the neighborhoods like behind Citronia, like Citronia Elementary School, like there's no sidewalk in areas of that. It's like those things were built in some cases in the 50s, yeah, if not earlier. And so there's no way of like picking up the phone, calling the developer from there and say, time to call it in. It's been like individual homes, and that's the problem, because now it's like, if you live there, it's like, okay, Mark,
You got to put it that way.
you have to put a sidewalk in, and that's your responsibility to do. So.
Chris, I have to go in a couple minutes, but I'd just like to throw something out that we might want to talk about next month. So, kind of following up on Emily's point about doing work outside of the meetings. I mean, I see our plan now kind of broadening. We're gonna have 7 members now instead of 5. So I think one of the things we might want to think about, and obviously we can discuss this as a group, but I'll just propose it, is maybe forming some small subcommittees like we have with the Green Advisory Council, where we maybe have 2 or 3 of us kind of dig deep into something like the transportation plan. We can do some of that work outside of meetings. I think if we try to, have all 7 of us look at everything, it's really going to slow us down.
That's a great idea.
It's a good idea.
So it would just mean everybody would have to commit to maybe doing all the homework outside of meetings and,
And maybe just, giving Chris some support, so he's not.
but then, that subcommittee could bring something back to the entire committee with a proposal, like, we've looked at this and here's what we think we can do, yea or nay, kind of thing. So we can, I think we, if we divide and conquer, I think we can move a lot faster.
I like it, especially with the kind of like broadening direction that you guys got. I mean, I think like recycling on its own, is a great.
Yeah, we don't need 7 people to dig deep into
Yes.
recycling, right?
Yeah.
Maybe a couple of us do that and then come back and say, here's what we found. So,
Now, are there rules about like meeting minutes and recording
Yeah,
those?
so you can't be, and I'll look into the details. I mean, as far as like the 7 of you can't be meeting and discussing things outside of the public meetings, but and you can't be deciding anything. So as far as trying to do research and coming up with, hey, here's what we've developed, and then sharing it at the meeting, what do you guys think, and taking a vote on it, that's perfectly fine.
I don't know if there was like an official subcommittee, if they needed to follow certain rules.
I would say it depends on like what you're doing with that. If it's like, oh, that subcommittee is only going to talk about, I don't know, you guys worked on like the stormwater ordinance several years ago. It was like the stormwater committee is going to work on the stormwater ordinance, and all the work going into the stormwater ordinance is only going to occur with those 3 people in the subcommittee, and then that's it. Like there's no ability for the public to get involved, then no. But if you're,
I think we're okay as long as no decisions are made outside of meetings, right? As long as you bring everything back to this meeting, vote on it as an entire committee, a meeting that's open to the public, I think we'll be good.
Yeah, I think it's just if it ever gets to the point where like it's not, the subcommittee turns into this own sort of thing, we want to always bring it back. And even if that's an update of like, hey, we're working on this and we'll bring the draft, next month or something, I think it would be great.
Okay. All right. Well, before I go, thank you everybody for a wonderful year. It's been a lot of hard work on everybody's part. Couple cold evenings too, so. But that's been, I've had a great time working with all of you, and look forward to continuing in 2026.
Yeah.
Likewise.
Thanks, Frank.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Elections, as soon as Frank leaves, we keep him in that position for next year.
Officer votes are January.
Yes, January.
Frank, take some home.
Yeah.
Drop it, drop some in the napkin. Take some.
And Frank, you've done a great job. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. We wanted to share that right back to you.
As a former chairperson, you're much better at it than me.
Oh, yeah, oh, yeah.
Hey, you're much too enthusiastic.
No, you were, hey, you can only do what you can do. But no,
No, it's
we
been-
threw you in head
It's
first.
a lot easier now. I mean, we've got a lot more staff, the rec staff support with Chris, so I think that, Green Advisory Council, we're kind of, they're a little bit sort of adrift.
It's about an
Yeah.
engineer taking over for a site.
Right, yeah.
Just put things in order.
Yeah, yeah.
It moves much
Did
better.
you agree, Dan?
Yes, you agreed.
No, everybody's done a great job.
Thanks.
Thanks, Frank.
Have a good
Happy
night.
holidays.
Merry Christmas, everybody. Thank you again for the party, Sarah.
See you next year at it.
Absolutely, we're already, how was the date? We'll put it on our calendar.
Planning ahead. Just to recap, because I am taking notes on what I'll put into this is I have those goals as coordinating part of the school district. Again, the solid waste management plan, reviewing the transportation plan, and then I added the official map.
Yeah, I had that as the third one, prioritize official map. Yeah.
Does order matter? Because I feel like the official map should be first, right? I mean, isn't that sort of,
I'll play around with the order. I don't think it really matters. We didn't worry about order last time, except, well, we did have, we had kind of a
order
progression.
matters. Order matters.
Yeah.
Order always matters.
We'll put official map at the top. This is very valuable for the commissioners,
Yeah,
and I think the commissioners will want to see the official map at the top, and they're gonna
Yes.
breathe a sense of relief, understanding that that is moving forward, that the EAC is contributing to probably the biggest piece on that. Like the transportation stuff is now kind of done. That's just a matter of mapping it, but yeah. So I will put that towards the top.
Yeah.
But yeah, last time, like I had this tiny little Gantt chart that we never really followed because just other distractions, but we almost had pieces that needed to be in place for it. And that's why we had it in a certain order, because we were
Sure.
developing the open space types and then putting those into the mapping, because we wanted to do that map that Marie brought up first, just to identify what open spaces we had and categorized, and then use that to move into the official map. But I think as staff, we have a really clear direction now as to how we want the official map to function, what we want on that. And so I think that's giving me some time to put some of that together and get in front of you guys and just getting more feedback, I think will be helpful.
So is that it, 4 goals?
Up to you. What else is bubbling?
Regarding that, I guess,
Can we add
like,
them as we go?
do we want to see if either like, I don't know, is it more of you who like would give us the ideas or like the commissioners?
I think that the commissioners, we have spent so much time, that's why I bring this up. We've spent so much time talking about high-level planning, policy changes. It's time for the rubber to meet the road.
Yeah.
And we as staff are kind of pushing that as well, to the commissioners of like, you might not see these big, public planning efforts and these discussions and all these different things, because we've done that. We've done 3-4 years, I mean, count the comp plan, 7 years of long-range planning. Now we need to put those plans into codes, policies, updates, and a lot of that is, it's not as fun, but it's the getting, getting things into, the text and the maps. And I think there's enough to do there that unless there's something that bubbles up, I wouldn't run away from the plans that we've done, unless you guys think there's something missing. I know we've the one thing I think about is the regional climate action plan. We've talked about that with Lehigh Valley Planning Commission, and seeing what those recommendations, especially for municipalities, are. But as far as like a totally different shift in looking into something, I don't know, unless you guys are thinking.
No, it was more of like, I guess, sort of like giving us guidance on like, you were saying there's like time for like, things to actually get done. Like, can we help with that part of it?
I look at duty number 1 of the Environmental Advisory Council to advise the commissioners on the environmental problems in the township. So I task you guys with that. Like, are there things that you think we are neglecting? I think a big shift in the past few months to the recycling has been huge. I feel like that was one that was very much of interest that we never really did anything with in the past 18 months. But is there anything else that you think we should be paying attention to that we don't have either like a plan or some sort of initiative associated with it? I'm asking like you guys, because I think it's better coming from the EAC. A good example, like Marie brought up the water cooler talk thing last week or last month, that like data center primer on like data centers and water resources and everything. I'm suggesting we send that out to, I don't think I send it to everybody here. I can send that to you guys, but I think we send that to Board of Commissioners, Planning Commission. I thought that was a really good. It was good. Yeah. So like that kind of stuff is like, that's outside of, maybe something we've been doing.
Well, I'd like to see the, more responsible use of lights at night on businesses. So like the warehouses and stuff, maybe to switch to that red lighting or that orange lighting, or someone had brought that up before, or just,
Yeah.
shoot them down, shoot them.
Sorry.
It was actually, last night I
Tell
was
us how you
flying
really
into.
feel.
I don't mean shoot them down, I
See
mean
the
shoot.
warehouse.
Oh, sorry.
Giant rectangle with like black in the middle and then just bright white lights like all around it. Now, I was actually paying attention because I know some of your concerns. It did seem like they were pretty good at like stopping it at or near their property line. But again, I'm looking down
It's
and
the light
not
pollution
like
in general.
across. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. If you're looking down, there's techniques to orient it down so that you don't see it as much as if you're on the ground. It's
Right.
They should all
there.
be down.
I think that would be a nice final goal to tie in some of the things that I have like on my list is we really need to continue with the ordinance updates. I need to get back to the Jordan Valley overlay as part of that, updating the whole open space, rewriting the open space provisions of Saldo. We've talked about plan review. There's nothing really, we can't really move forward with this group on plan review until we have something to point to specifically in the ordinance that says this is what the EAC is reviewing. So adding in some stuff there to Saldo updates that would then reflect in a checklist that we've sort of talked about, like EAC, you go through, you do the plan, you're checking for this, that, and the other thing. So what if I add a goal of code updates?
Yes.
And the priorities are going to be the open space, there's resource protection, however, resource protection provisions, whether that's, the identifying the woodlands one, or we've kind of talked about mixing them all together, and then lighting.
Yeah.
Because the lighting's been on our list and we just haven't kicked it there yet.
And then maybe we can tie in like
Access.
biking paths and walking paths. Recommendations.
Active, yeah.
Yeah, how about, reviewing, because like we have that, like we're gonna be
Yeah.
doing that and
Yeah.
reviewing
Yeah.
active transportation updates.
I don't know, is there like a state code for like the lighting plans that they have to follow?
It's local. So there's like federal guidelines. I believe it's federal guidelines, but so like we just adopt locally certain guidelines. But ours are not up to stuff. We identified that.
I wasn't sure who the authority was on it. If it was
Yeah,
like
no,
us,
it's
the town
us.
can
Like,
do
we
it.
actually, we have a lighting consultant. We have a third-party lighting consultant that we send land developments to. They review it, but they review it in compliance with our ordinance.
Right.
So if our ordinance isn't getting us a product, they could probably give better recommendations, but that's not their job to do.
Yeah.
There's
So-
so much out there right now about this, about the lighting and the really negative effects of too much light. It's just,
On the wildlife.
yeah, oh my gosh.
Especially too, like LEDs got in and it's like, it's making it worse. 'cause
God.
it's cheap and-
I know.
Well,
That's bad.
I directly can acknowledge the contribution from this board, from Sarah, really for bringing it up to the PERT ordinance. We added things into the PERT ordinance specifically because you guys brought them up, and I'm happy with what we put in there. We definitely, for our full saldo update, we want to spend more time with it and probably look at more details and maybe talk to our lighting consultant about that. But there's a lot of good information out there. One of the things I've been researching is like, they almost have like lighting zones, is a theory where it's like, it doesn't matter necessarily what the underlying zoning use is, it's different areas of lighting intensity. So your high traffic commercial areas should have more lighting. And then you might have more rural areas with less lighting, industrial, but it's like, because it doesn't need to be tied to zoning. It's almost its own thing. And I'd love to explore something like that.
Yeah, that's tough, because you could be right next door to.
Well, and that's the thing, because there's little pockets. So it's like, even if you're in the same zoning district, you could almost look at where should light be necessary. So in some cases, it actually dictates.
And not
land
just
use
where, but
changes.
when. When should it be necessary? So at 2 a.m. might not be as necessary.
Mhm.
We know it's funny in our neighborhood, the streetlights, how does that work?
You have streetlights?
Yeah, believe it or not. we do.
Wow, I didn't know that.
We have one across the street from us too. I think I'm always wondered if it's like the neighbors.
No, we have street, no, we have.
Which is just because, and I grew up with street, we grew up in Jersey, there's
Yeah.
streetlight, but it's like, this is one.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I don't really know where you are, but I know you.
yeah, we have streetlights.
Yeah, I mean, I know there's definitely streetlights, but like, I'm surprised up by you.
You know, who owns the streetlights? I know PPL, we have to call when something is, light is out. And PPL comes and changes the bulb.
It's,
I'm gonna, Marie, it's interesting you say that, is in my park, South Whitehall Township Park, there's several there's not a lot of lights. And two of the major lights, like the entrance into the park, are out. So it's hard to get in the park. The lights are out. I've been calling for about 2 years now. PP&L, and they've never fixed it. As well as on our street, there are two lights that are out in the street lights, and they don't fix that. And I don't know what to do.
There's numbers on the poles,
And I called,
and no.
and I put it, and I called with it.
That IDs the pole.
Yes, I
Oh,
understand.
and you gave them that
Yeah,
number
yeah,
too, because
yeah.
that's what we do,
yeah.
and they come out. But my point is, bringing this up,
Yes, go
and
ahead.
I understand where you're coming from, is this was before we moved in. There's one on the corner, and our property's here, there's a house here. And I think that light in the corner must have been shining into the bedroom. Because my husband and I noticed, well, who put that piece of like cardboard up there?
Oh,
That's what it looks like. I mean, this piece has been there a long time, that somebody shaded that side of the light.
Oh, wow.
The street lights won't shine
Oh,
in
good.
their
Why
house,
not?
it just cracked me up, and that's the only light where that has been done on our street. And I think one of the neighbors did it, because this guy got fed up. It's the best I can determine.
They're shooting it out.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, I think it's all PPL. I don't know. I mean, there's some where we might own the poles.
Everybody says call PPL.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately PPL is they're the ones that change it. They're the ones who, are turning them on and off. Like the ones that are in here, well, I don't know if they're on because of the lights, like we own them, but I don't know.
So you guys do these bulbs, most likely township.
Yes,
Because it's
yeah.
on township.
Yeah,
property.
same with the parks too, yeah. Yeah, we fix those too, like even the big ones.
I don't know,
believe.
because the park by your house, Herb said we can't fix that pole that's there. But PPL will fix the bulb,
Oh,
and we
okay.
don't touch it. But I don't know.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're not really owned. I wouldn't think that PPL would say, yeah, I'll just replace this entire pole, right?
No, it's usually our infrastructure. It's kind of, I believe it might be kind of similar to like traffic lights, where like we might own it, and then there's someone else that maintains it.
Yeah.
But
I gotta ask my husband. He is so tuned into this. He knows. He knows who's supposed to change the bulbs, who owns the pole, and so I gotta ask him because, yeah, he's tuned into it. He knows who to call.
The light zones made me think of like a nature corridor and access, like for the animals to move.
Nature,
That,
that
running out of
is-
that, yeah.
that is huge.
Mhm.
That is huge, and I have it in my stack of papers. I don't know how we do that, but we're at a critical point.
Yeah.
We are at a critical point. I mean, the things that are being killed on the road, and when you see that a lot of those animals are young animals,
Mhm.
so now what? Now, where is that type of wildlife? How is it gonna survive? I mean, we're messing up the whole ecosystem in addition
Yeah,
to a lot of
we
other
shrunk
things.
their ecosystem and
Now-
disconnected it.
Now we
Yeah.
disconnected it.
And it's interesting now that there's snow on the ground, because you can actually see the trails.
Yeah, you can.
You know,
Yeah,
you can
yeah.
identify
Yeah.
them.
But I don't know what we do about this, Chris. I mean, this has been my bugaboo for a very long time.
Like
And I
wildlife
believe
corridors in general, or
Wildlife
specific to
corridors.
lighting?
Well, lighting's a problem, but the wildlife corridors, I think,
Lighting just made me think of it when you said the
Okay.
Yeah, we
animals
can
and then
piggyback
she
off
was
of
talking about
those.
the access by pedestrians, and then I was like, oh yeah, the animals can
Wildlife
move.
You don't be biking in the dark with wild animals.
Yeah,
around.
that's
right, there you go.
Taken out by a.
Yeah,
I-
you can't buy them necessarily.
I actually was on the DNL trail on, and a deer and we were riding at night, came charging, it hit me. What?
Oh,
Well,
you're
I was
right.
amazed I didn't get
Oh,
killed.
gee.
Literally a full adult deer. And I thought it was my headlight coming at my headlight. And I was like, holy cow, this seems good, direct hit. So I turned my bike to, because I thought it drove off the bike at the same time. and
You are lucky.
It hit
That's
my,
amazing.
very blessed and the bike went flying.
oh,
Yeah,
my
I was
That's
like,
probably
yeah,
terrible.
yeah, that was crazy. It was
Yeah,
scary.
we won't be biking in the dark. But I don't know how to address that, but it's becoming a critical issue. It's really.
Identify them, identify, where those pockets are, identify where the habitat
Oh,
is.
trunk,
and-
Cedar
Yeah,
Crest.
yeah,
You got that big open space, and they're
Yeah.
crossing. I mean, I know that's not the only ones, but that's what I see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's where I see it.
they're
where I see-
going anywhere now. yeah.
yeah.
Could we maybe add to our work plans to identify what the subcommittees are gonna be?
Yeah, I didn't know, it sounded like Frank wanted to do that early, but yeah, sure, definitely, like, having maybe the identification of what they're going to
Like
do.
initiate.
Yeah,
subcommittee
yeah,
usage,
yeah.
So where do we put wildlife corridors?
Um,
Under what?
yeah, I don't know, is it,
And that Bob Byrne, can he be on our committee?
I'd love you to.
I'm just trying to think if we've identified
Yeah,
anything.
we haven't talked about that.
We have it. So I'm so glad Ally brought it up. It's huge. It's a huge problem.
Yeah.
And while Chris is looking, Planning Commission had received money. And thought they had the money. Where the money is now, I have no clue. But my understanding was that, and tell me if I'm wrong, Ally, because you might be more informed. They had the idea of, they were gonna make the, what do you call them, where the exits are, you call those,
Clover leaves.
cloverleaf,
Yeah.
okay. That they were gonna vegetate those cloverleaf areas with like native plants and this type of thing to make it look nice. Problem is, if you build it, they will come.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah,
And
they're
you start,
on an island.
yeah,
right,
and then they're
small.
stuck on an island, and I tell you, I see roadkill, little young animal roadkill all the time. When I am heading north on 378 and I wanna get on 22, and you got that brushy area over to the left, you can see it right away. It's big enough for some little animals to say, call that home. Okay, but they don't know how to cross the road, and there's really no place, they shouldn't even be crossing, because they're gonna get stuck. But what do they know?
No.
So, it's
Yeah, you're
the
right.
kind of thing where it's all brushy and it's great, but they don't know, it's like, all right, now we're killing all these animals. I mean, it's a big problem.
They have vegetated some of the clover leaves, and I think PennDOT or, I don't know. But I've seen other countries build like a ramp.
Yeah.
Of like, and they have animals use it.
Yeah, they do. They use the bridges, they use.
Or tunnels.
Yeah,
Yeah,
tunnels,
systems.
they use the tunnels.
Probably better.
You know, that was a big thing, when Chris is researching, that was a big thing that held up the Blue Route outside of Philadelphia. Are you familiar with the Blue Route, you know? Oh,
Drive it
my.
every day.
Yeah, there you go, then you're familiar, that animal, that bridge that goes across, where the heck is it? It's down, oh geez, I don't know if it's below Villanova. That held that road up because those people on the main line just complained and refused to cooperate with that plan. And that was a big deal. That bridge had to be there. It took years for that road to be built, because we were living down there
Oh, wow.
when the uproar was happening.
Oh, wow.
Every week in the paper, these people were adamant, you know, we don't want exits in our neighborhoods, we don't want fast food, we don't want to see this road, we want our wildlife protected, and you know, went on and on.
We need some mainline money people up here
Yeah,
to
we
take care of
do.
that for us.
We do.
You know how they came up with the name Blue Route?
No, what?
Because they had various maps,
Mhm.
and the one they chose was blue. That's what I call it. Isn't that interesting?
No, that really
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
It's like, well, there's like a whole planned interstate system with all different colors for each of the roads, yeah.
Yeah, they chose the blue.
Oh, okay, because I know
And the
some,
blue, I know, I was
that
like, trivia.
because I know there's there was a book written.
Yeah.
Is that weird?
Highways.
Blue Route. Yeah.
Oh, it's blue highways, there's a book written. That guy's least,
Lisa.
no wait. Something Moon, Half Moon, is the author's name. And he wrote a book called Blue Highways, and we might have it. It's very, because he travels all these different things, you know, but yeah, Blue Highways evidently is a thing, you know what I mean? I don't know. That's how our maps are known, like your color coding and all this, I think it's a thing. But yeah, the Blue Route, that was controversy galore. Oh, my word. But at any rate, yeah, there is a bridge there for wildlife.
Same thing with
There's a couple
78
in
in
there,
New Jersey.
Oh, you have it there too?
Yeah.
My,
You're going to White Plains?
What?
You're on your way to White Plains, I think there's one.
There may be, I don't know, but the one on 78
Where is
is,
Talk about Chatham, right?
I don't know New Jersey or well, I'm from Tennessee, but.
That'll make a difference.
Yeah, but I know there's that road and it's just wildlife. There's no road or anything.
that?
It's just a wildlife corridor for the animals.
And they
to get
find,
across.
they find.
Because before I forget, for the ordinance part, I know we had discussed the mowing
yes,
wildlife
I
one.
love that.
Yes.
You are fine.
yeah,
But I think it's not there already.
what if I add that to number 5 under code?
Where do we
Yeah.
got it?
The review the no-mow.
Yeah,
We talked about that.
Elmo is.
Yeah, the reason that Herb and Marie, and it was Wise and Frank too, I think,
No May.
it was because now you have the
Enough about it.
vegetation, like the rabbits and things living in
And
there.
all the kind of little insects that will lay things in there.
And then you go and you mow it, then
Uh-huh.
after
a month later.
Well, we were discussing the,
Yeah, sorry, not the no-mow, the high weeds and grass. Yeah, we have the.
yeah, well, yeah, to me, if you don't mow, it's what you get.
Yes.
The grass,
Yes.
so I thought that was the same thing.
Yes, so I have a really good head start on that because We Conserve PA, used to be the Pennsylvania Land Trust Association. They actually came out with a model, a naturalized landscaping model ordinance or something like that. It's almost exactly what we're looking for. So I think
Good.
starting with that model, tweaking it, making sure our friends in code enforcement aren't going to, freak out with it. I think that's a great thing to add to that list. So ideally, we would be looking at the high weeds and grass ordinance that's penalizing people for trying to create, natural habitat, like our friend, Mr. Fred Buse, who came to speak to us.
Yeah.
And it would actually allow for that to happen with intent. And we talked about doing whether it's a registration program or even I think I was talking to you about some of those pamphlets, like having some pamphlets of here are things that you can, ways to encourage best practices with this that someone's interested in that, you can actually tell them how to do it properly instead of don't just let your grass grow. That's not gonna count. And then having it as maybe a registration program so that people aren't being penalized for that. Similar to that, I think we were gonna try to get together with Herb and talk about some of that other kind of stuff with the related to our stormwater and like naturalizing basins and things like that. Yeah, there's
It's
a
all good.
township we
Picture
visited
frame.
that.
Like,
What?
keep it like a picture frame. Like, I always feel like if you're gonna let your grass go, just go, like, because we can't touch everyone. But like, to dumb it down, make it like a picture frame. So
Yeah.
if you're gonna not stop mowing, at least mow around the edge.
Yeah.
Like a picture frame, so
Yeah.
you're keeping it contained within your yard.
To let everyone know that
Well, that's
I
like
did
said,
this on
right,
purpose.
It's
Yeah.
with intent,
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
I mean, to dumb it down, the picture frame makes sense to
Yeah.
me,
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's great. It's just getting it in the books because again, we have that ordinance where it's, yeah.
But you're saying that we can serve has sort of it already started, which is nice, because there was
Yeah.
a lot of things like, well, how do we?
That's what I was
start
looking,
it,
yes,
you
it's like,
know?
and,
Yeah.
and where do we go with this? Like, cause we don't wanna be like policing it as the EAC
Right.
and we don't have the staff for it and that's almost too high. We don't wanna make it too difficult for people. So, I wanna see if there's any other municipalities that have adopted something similar and ask them, like, how do you put this into practice? But
Yeah.
I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you. Yeah, we'll add that.
Me too.
Yeah.
So Chris, I think, I wonder if for the policies and ordinances updating part of the work plan, if it could remain relatively vague as to what policies and ordinances we're updating, because I think part of what should be done is figuring out which ones touch on it and then helping with that. Because it sounds like we've got several very specific ones already, but I wouldn't want it to just say we're gonna update these 3 and then in January say, wait, oh, hold on, we wanna like do a lot more.
If that's what the board wants to do, my only comment would be, we have ones that we've identified of like wanting to do that from some of the plans, like the landscapes plan identified a couple of those things. And I think it's also, it makes it easier for the commissioners to see that.
Okay.
And then when we do it and we present it and they see it, they're like, oh, I know where this is coming from.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, if we were gonna do, a lot of this is getting them prepared for what might be coming their way for approval. And if it were to be something that we look at and we're like, oh, like, let's add, I don't know, some sort of random ordinance that we haven't talked
Well,
about in
like
the
the lights
plan.
at night, maybe, which hasn't shown up
Yes.
much.
Yeah.
It's better to see
If
it
it's-
first, show it first.
yeah.
Okay, no, I
I
hear
think,
that now.
I think it would throw them, you know, of just like, well, why? Because it could be very different too, with two new commissioners coming on, but at least like the previous board is very much like, where is this in what we've discussed? How has the community looked at this? Like, a lot of the stuff in these plans have been very, community driven, and now it's getting down to like, okay, we gotta make the tweak.
Sure.
The lighting one is, it hasn't been expressed as much from the community, but we have talked about it from the EAC, and we have been talking about it as staff.
Yeah.
But, and I think maybe if you want, I can add, like, identify future ordinance updates too.
Sure.
Like, leave that kind of
I'm
open-ended.
just trying to save effort, but what your point is, makes a lot of sense, so. I take that-
Yeah,
take
this
it all
is
back.
more for the outside. I
No,
think
that makes
we all know, like,
Yeah.
what we want to work on and have the,
Sure.
like, the ability to adapt to that. This is more for like someone joining the EAC. What are you guys working on? We had 2 new people, like, in the past couple of months, like, just come in and, sit in and it's like, hey, here you go. This is what we're working on. This is what we're about.
Yeah.
So that's what I look at, like,
And I
this.
feel like they're gonna come back. I feel like they both seem like.
Sean-
You don't think they're gonna come on a
Yeah.
Monday when it's 25 degrees out, a couple days before the
There was that
holiday?
lady that came too. She was really.
Shauna.
Yeah, Shauna.
Shauna was stopped at our table. Did she stop at yours? She
I've
stopped at
never
our
seen
table
Shauna.
Oh,
and
cool.
introduced herself. I don't know if you were there, Mark, but it was
No, I
Frank and
wasn't.
and she goes, I don't know if you remember me. And I was looking at her and thinking, are you
I liked
Shauna?
her. Yeah,
And I said, oh, I hope you'll come. She said she does plan on coming back.
That's great.
that's great.
I think the subcommittees will help because
Yeah.
everyone said, like, I don't know if I can be here if I'm not a member. Like, so
Yeah.
having
Oh, yeah.
non, like, official members.
Yeah.
And also too, if you have something more specific you're interested in, you might be more apt
Yeah.
to join.
You're right. Would it be prudent for us to go and attend a Board of Commissioners meeting and introduce ourselves to?
Depending.
Wow, that is very slow response.
It is a slow response, only because I have no idea how the next several couple of meetings are going to operate. I've gotten kind of accustomed to how I think they operate, and I
I
think
hear
things
you.
are going to be very different.
Okay.
And I know that we have a lot of things that we're trying. I mean, I had to pull things off of this next coming or the agenda 2 days from now, just 'cause, like, there's too many things going on.
Fair.
So I'm also trying to avoid too long of meetings.
Fair.
And I would say, well,
You don't have to.
I
give
love
an
this
answer.
board, and I think this board is very different from others. No other boards are going and doing that. And,
Yeah.
you know, it's,
Mm.
and that's where, like, whereas this fits in exactly with what planning commission does, shade tree, park and rec, I think even public safety. And I think just to give them, especially to kind of give them an equal footing on how they're going to interact with certain boards, because we have 2 new commissioners that they might want to start to come to these meetings more. And that's great. Or they might ask, can we get more information from this board, from the EAC? So time will tell. That's kind of my response. But
Okay.
as far as like January, there's so much happening. There's so many things already going on. I think it would be, personally, I think it would just be something added onto an already lengthy agenda. And I wouldn't want to do that when we'll be presenting this. Now, if there's
I got you.
questions on this, and I can say, hey, if you want, EAC is happy to come in and do a little presentation or something. But the idea is to just kind of streamline that,
Mhm.
depending on their level of involvement.
Is our next December meeting, is that this Wednesday? The last one for the board commissioner?
Oh, yes,
Yeah, I
yeah,
thought.
yeah. Yeah, and then they do their reorg.
Reorganization.
Yeah, and so that's where like there's nothing really on that agenda. So that's where like things that didn't make it to this agenda, it's not gonna be on the reorg. Like the next January meeting's already gonna be jam packed. And then by that time, who knows what else we have going.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Okay.
Always.
Alrighty. What do we have to-
You gotta run to it next time.
Yeah, run away.
Then you could be at every meeting of theirs.
Yeah, right.
Should we wrap up the meeting or is there more?
Well, we have the meeting schedule.
Oh, I just put it in your packet. It's
Right,
the same
yeah.
thing as this year. Just to note that on the last page there, 4th Monday of the month, and then May and December, we push that up to the 3rd Monday just because of the holidays.
Oh, I see what you did with December. Okay, rather than make it the 28th, you made it the 21st, okay.
Yeah, well,
Okay.
we've just been doing that. Like, it worked out this year.
Yeah.
I liked it this year because it's
This year
not-
really worked out.
Yeah, but that one is still kind of close, and we can always decide if you want, you can always cancel. It's easier to cancel than to reschedule,
Okay.
because rescheduling, we have to advertise.
Okay. Very, very good.
That will definitely be a school holiday,
What would be?
the 21st.
Yeah, yeah, that's where I kind of selfishly have asked to push those up, because, yeah, like, I'm off pretty much all next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, and we can consider that, but we've already submitted it, so we advertise all of them at the beginning of the year, so they've already been
Yeah, I'm
submitted,
just
but,
curious.
yeah.
I'm glad you showed it to us. This is gonna go on my calendar. It doesn't.
Yeah, there you go, Mark, Merry Christmas, you're always asking.
I know you're a busy woman, so I think,
I don't use my phone calendar. I should. Do you?
Okay, should we?
Yeah,
Are you all?
We have a motion to adjourn.
No, wait, hold on.
Oh, yeah, we still have courtesy of the floor. What do you have, Marie?
Do you remember at the last meeting, I mentioned, and I sent you that link, Chris, to the college students, the Penn State architectural students that were
Yes.
gonna be presenting
Yes.
to Reimagine Appalachia. I listened to their presentations and they were excellent. And I think it's something to keep on our back burner, our back pocket, to think about this. I don't know, I mean, obviously I could contact Reimagine Appalachia and ask them, okay, how did you set this up with Penn State? You know, we're 3 teams and they each got to choose a decommissioned, or whatever you want to call it, coal mine, okay? And what would they do with that land? To make it viable, to make it so that the community could be involved, to make it so that there would be jobs. What would they introduce renewable energy? I mean, what these kids put into those plans just blew my mind.
Sounds like a case competition or something.
They were asked to do this for this organization.
Yeah.
Cool.
And we should think about this, because I'm thinking about, you know, that big piece of Jerry's property. And these students had just tremendous ideas, and they got such positive feedback because there were a lot of professionals on that call too, who wanted to hear, okay, what are these kids coming up with, you know? And so it's something to think about. I know we've used Muhlenberg for the open space thing.
Yeah.
Is that correct? We used them in that way.
Yeah.
But
Well, and it sounds like, do you remember, were you ever involved in any of the Penn Praxis work?
No.
Penn Praxis is this very similar program. It's the University of Pennsylvania's School of Design.
Oh, okay.
And they actually have, it's it's grad students in the design program. And there's a head, like, department lead there who, I think she, at the time, who I knew it was, I think she also may have been in private sector as well, but did this. And the idea is that they,
Bless you.
thank you. They couple these grad students with real life consultants, and they work on special projects exactly like that. And it's almost like sky's the limit. What can you come up with? And the idea is to expose them to a real, like, studio, instead of just in a studio, like a real project.
Right.
And there's a significant cost savings because you're getting students to do it. So you kind of take that with a caveat. We did it with I say we, it was before I was here. Township did it with the Vistas plan.
Did they?
The Vistas Park plan. Yeah, it obviously didn't move forward like that. I don't know if, I think they did some other ones related to Covered Bridge Park, some parcels outside of Covered Park. They kind of looked at reimagining those and turning them into like computer space and things like that. I saw some really incredible ones that Penn Praxis did in the Slate Belt region. The same sort of thing. They reimagined some of these slate quarries, and some of them were like really cool, you know, nature parks and amphitheaters and things like that. So it's kind of a similar program there. Hasn't been a lot of movement. They were doing a lot of work in the Lehigh Valley for a while, but yeah.
Just
Yeah.
a thought. I mean, it was, I wasn't the only one that was blown away by what I saw, you know, because I could tell by the questions that were coming in from some of these professional people. And then they did open it up that you could unmute yourself. And so they were asking all kinds of questions and very supportive and telling the students, okay, how they could find funding, just all kinds of stuff.
Cool.
But it was the plans that they came up with that were just like, oh my God.
Is there anything in like the Carbon County area, like in this eastern PA?
Reading.
Oh,
They're
Reading. Oh,
Reading.
wow.
I didn't even know. Oh, I can't think of, because I used to live out there. I can't think of the name. I had to ask my husband.
And I'll look at it. I know you sent me
Yeah,
that link.
Reading.
I haven't had a chance to look at.
But it was so well done. You know, so I'm thinking, wow, what a resource. You know, it's unbelievable. And their professor was totally in on it. I mean, it was just something. It was really good. Very worthwhile. So that's my comment.
Now can I go forward?
No,
Yeah.
I'd like to revisit the dreams of the Green Gala maybe this year. Talk about that.
Do you want to add it to the work plan, or is it just
No
something,
idea.
maybe it's a subcommittee? Hey, how about an events subcommittee?
Well, actually, we do enough events, so maybe we should.
Yeah, no, I'm serious, like, and that becomes something that, like, what
We'd
events you're
have
gonna
to
do,
partner with
tabling
the
events?
township.
and-
It would be a huge
Yeah.
thing,
Yeah, but I think that, yeah. And
Just put another thing on Linda Tula's.
Yeah.
I thought this was gonna be your thing.
I would need, Linda Tula.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys, I have to
Yeah.
run. This will
Thank
not be
you,
a normal
Emily.
thing, it's just tonight.
No, thank you so much.
Take care.
See ya.
So I call a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Please do.
I call a motion to.
I will
adjourn.
second it. I will second. All in favor?
Aye.
Oh, and Ally, quick